Good morning. I'm Miss Katie with Arizona Farm Bureau Ag in the Classroom.
And I'm Miss Alicia with Arizona Farm Bureau Ag in the Classroom.
And we're so excited to be here with you today to learn about some of our favorite things. Do you guys want to guess what our favorite thing is? I mean, I know we've seen some of you before. It's a big word.
Starts with an A.
Did you hear agriculture?
I did.
Agriculture. Can you guys say agriculture with us? Agriculture. Very good. And as you know, when you hear that word agriculture, you are supposed to think of two different types of people. Can anybody remember one of the people you are supposed to think of when you hear the word agriculture? These kids are smart.
Yeah.
I heard it. So the first one I heard was cowboy or cowgirl. And you might remember or know that we call cowboys and cowgirls ranchers. And our ranchers here in Arizona are responsible for taking care of three different types of animals. Can you guys guess an animal that a rancher, a cowboy, or cowgirl might take care of? These guys are geniuses. Cows. Do you know the type of cows that ranchers take care of? What do the cows give us? Now, we did hear milk, right? So those would be our dairy cows, and they actually live on farms. But the cows or cattle that our ranchers take care of are beef cattle. And those are the animals that provide us with things to eat, like meat, right?
Beef jerky and steak and
hamburgers. And also, we use some of the byproducts like their skin or fur to make leather, right? Their hide. So those are our beef cattle. So what's another animal a rancher might take care of then?
What kind of animal does a cowboy or cowgirl always need to get around on their ranch? Yep, a horse.
That's right. So our cowboys and cowgirls ride their horses here on Arizona ranches because oftentimes they can't take vehicles where their cows are. So they have to use those horses for transportation. And those horses are also a very important tool when they're having to rope cattle or move cattle into pens down to the base of the ranch to give vaccines, all of the things they need to do to care for cattle. Now, the third animal that our ranchers take care of, it's a little bit tricky. Should we give them a hint?
Yeah.
What do you think? Make the sound?
Let's make a sound.
All right.
Okay,
on
listen
three,
very
we're gonna
carefully.
Make the sound. So our ranchers here in Arizona, they care for beef cattle, they care for horses, and they also care for sheep. You got it. They care for sheep. And do you guys know why they raise sheep? What we get from sheep? Wool. Very good. So now we have an idea of what our ranchers do. So let's talk for a moment about what our farmers do.
Ooh. Farmers also take care of animals, right?
They do.
What kind of animals do farmers take care of?
Pigs. Very good.
Yes.
Always the pigs.
And we get bacon, pork from pigs.
And
chickens. What do we get from chickens?
Eggs, very good. Okay, we get eggs. Yes, we can also get baby chicks as long as we have a hen and a rooster and that egg has been fertilized or incubated for 21 days. So kept at about 100 degrees. So that's the important piece there.
And I heard chicken, like chicken nuggies.
Chicken nuggets.
Yeah, but not the chickens we have in Arizona. We use them for egg production, not for chicken nuggies.
That's right. Okay. So now we know when we hear the word agriculture, we're supposed to think of ranchers and farmers. And now we know that those individuals take care of animals. But do farmers also do something else? They do. What else do they do?
They take care of something else that's not an animal.
That's right. They grow things. And the things that they grow, we call crops. Can you say crops? Crops. Very good. Now, crops are things like fruits. Can you think of fruit?
Strawberries.
How about you? Blueberries, watermelon, cantaloupe.
Pumpkins.
Pumpkins. Wait, pumpkins are a fruit?
Yeah.
How do we know a pumpkin is a fruit?
Have you guys ever opened up a pumpkin and looked inside? What's inside of a pumpkin? Seeds.
And if it has seeds inside, then we know that it is in fact a fruit. So there are so many different fruits that our farmers grow here in Arizona, but there's also a couple of other things they grow. And one of those is vegetables. Mm-hmm. How many of you like to eat vegetables?
I like vegetables.
Yeah, some of our favorites. Mine happens to be carrots.
I like broccoli.
Ooh. How about cauliflower?
Mm-hmm.
Brussels sprouts?
Lettuce.
Ooh. Did you know that Arizona is the winter lettuce capital of the world?
Yeah.
Our farmers grow
lettuce.
So much lettuce here, especially in those winter months. So lots of different vegetables that are grown by our farmers as well. So they grow fruits, they grow vegetables, and they can also grow something that we wear.
Yeah, what is our clothing? A lot of our clothing made out of?
Wait, do you just like drive by a field and there's a field of shirts?
No.
Field of pants?
No.
Field of socks?
Something that grows in that field that they can turn into clothing. It's white and fluffy.
That's right, you got it. Cotton, which looks a lot like the wool from sheep, but cotton does come from a plant, and that is grown by our farmers. Our farmers also can grow other things that we eat, and we call those things grains. Have you guys heard of grains before? Right? Think of wheat for your breads and bagels and cakes. Maybe oats for your oatmeal. Oatmeal cookies are my favorite, right? Okay. Barley, all sorts of different things. So as you can see, farmers and ranchers are really important, and they are agriculture, right? Growing crops and raising animals for not only food, but also fiber. Now, I heard that our farmers have some friends.
They do. They have friends that help them that are small. What do you guys think we're going to talk about today? Friends of farmers.
Friends of farmers. Some of them go like...
like bees, okay. Bees are friends for farmers. How do bees help farmers?
They pollinate. You guys are so smart.
Yeah, they go from flower to flower looking for the nectar to turn into honey, right? And so when they do that, they take that pollen from flower to flower, and that allows those flowers to turn into fruit that we eat.
I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
So if farmers have friends, right, those bugs and insects that do good things for them, do they also have enemies?
They do. Foes. They have foes or enemies.
Foes. So can you say foe? Foe. Okay, tell me a little bit about these foes.
Okay. So foes for farmers are things like, we'll talk about insects. Insects that harm the crops, right?
Ooh, how could they harm a crop?
There are insects or pests, we call them pests, that can eat the crop. So they might eat the roots of the crop, or they might eat the leaves of the crop, or they might eat the fruit or the grain that's actually produced so that we can't eat it. So farmers can't sell that fruit or grain or plant to the store. So these are pests. So here are some examples of pests. Like this one you've seen before. It's a cockroach, right? We don't like those. Grasshoppers, there's been a lot of grasshoppers this year, and they eat the crop and can destroy a whole field of crops. And then stink bugs. They're stinky, right? So lots of different pests. They can eat all different parts of the crop. Or they might eat it when it's stored somewhere, like in your pantry. You might find weevils or other kind of things that will eat that crop, and then we can't eat it or animals can't eat it. So they can be kind of harmful.
So how do farmers take care of these pests?
So that's a good question. So farmers use something called IPM.
IPM. What does that stand for?
Integrated Pest Management. Those are big words, but that means that farmers plan when they're going to plant things and harvest things so that they can reduce the amount of insect damage or pest damage. Even things like weeds can be pests. So they make sure that they're weeding, they make sure that they're planting the correct time, they make sure that they're keeping the plants very healthy. And when plants are healthy, insects and pests don't tend to bother them as much. And sometimes they have to do something like put pesticides down.
So does that mean it's important for farmers to understand the life cycle of different insects?
Of insects and plants. So they have to know a lot of things about what they're growing and what might eat it or destroy it. So they have to pay attention to those things.
Those farmers sure are smart.
They are. They have to know a lot of things.
A lot of things. So I think today we should learn a lot of things about some insects, some bugs,
yes,
as I like to call them. But I think we should spend our time with some of those friends because we like to talk about friends, right? So one of those friends, you might not think it's a friend, but it's a friend. It's a bee.
Ooh, yeah.
How could a honeybee be a friend?
Well, they're called honeybees.
Well, yeah, they make sweet, delicious honey.
Yeah.
But in the process, they also pollinate.
You guys have heard that word before.
That. Yeah, can you guys say pollinate?
Pollinate.
Very good. So those are our bees. This one is one of my favorites. Do you guys know what that is? Sometimes they're more red in color. A ladybug.
Yeah, they come in lots of different colors.
And ladybugs are very important. You might even use them in a home garden or a school garden as part of that IPM or integrated pest management because our ladybugs, our friends, are what we call beneficial insects and they can eat some of the foes called aphids. So we really love our ladybugs. We also have, do you guys know what that is?
It's one of my favorites.
Dragonflies. And how can a dragonfly be a friend? What do they do for farmers? They can also pollinate. Nicely done.
And they eat bad insects. Things like mosquitoes and things that could spread disease, they eat them.
I love that. Do you guys know what this is?
Ooh.
A praying mantis. Now, sometimes when we see these, they look a little scary. So we think that they're actually a foe. They're scary and they're bad. But you tell me they're good.
They're good insects. They're beneficial insects. They eat a lot of the bad insects that we don't want around. And they're really good at it.
If you see a praying mantis, don't squish it.
No, they're really good.
Very, very good. So we have some other friends. We talked about bees and praying mantis and ladybugs and dragonflies. But today, I think we should spend some time talking about those really, really pretty friends.
It also starts with the letter B. What do you think?
It also pollinates. Do you know what that is?
I heard it.
Butterflies. Raise your hand if you like butterflies.
I like butterflies.
Raise your hand if you've seen butterflies before. Hopefully you've seen lots of butterflies before. So today we're going to learn all about butterflies. And to do that, we're going to start with a story. Our story today is The Amazing Life Cycle of Butterflies.
The Amazing Life Cycle of Butterflies, written by Kay Barnum, illustrated by Maddie Frost. In the warmer months of spring and summer, butterflies flutter about. These beautiful insects carry pollen from flower to flower, just like bees. But did you know that this is just one stage of a butterfly's incredible life cycle? A butterfly begins its life as a tiny egg. Some eggs are round, some are oval, and some have ridges. The female butterfly sticks her eggs onto leaves or stems very close together. This plant will soon become food. Inside the butterfly eggs, new life is growing. But these creatures are not yet butterflies. After a few days, the eggs hatch and butterfly larvae appear. Butterfly larvae are also known as pupa, or caterpillars. At first, they look like small, wriggling worms. A caterpillar's job is to eat. Most caterpillars eat plants, but some eat other insects. They eat so much that soon their skin becomes too tight. It splits, and underneath is a new, bigger skin. As the caterpillar grows, this happens again and again. Caterpillars have many enemies. They are gobbled up by birds, wasps, and ladybugs. In some countries, humans eat them too. Caterpillars use bristles, spikes, smells, and poison to frighten away enemies. Sometimes they disguise themselves with eye spots and patterns. This caterpillar is pretending to be a snake. When the caterpillar has finished growing, it hangs upside down from a leaf or branch. Very slowly, a shell forms around it. This shell is called a chrysalis. Like the caterpillar, the chrysalis is patterned. This makes it difficult for enemies to spot. Inside the chrysalis, something amazing happens. The caterpillar dissolves into a soupy mixture. Then eyes, legs, wings, antennae, and other body parts begin to form. After a week or two, the caterpillar will have changed into a brand new butterfly. At last, the adult butterfly pushes its way out of the chrysalis. This splits open and the butterfly appears. It's a tight fit inside the chrysalis, so the butterfly must first unfold soft wings, which will take a few hours to harden. Then, it flies for the very first time. A butterfly has 4 wings. These are covered with millions of tiny colored scales, which create different patterns. Some wing patterns allow butterflies to hide. Others have special markings that look like big eyes to scare away enemies. Bold, bright colors attract mates. A butterfly tastes with its feet and smells with its antennae. Its mouth is shaped like a long tube. The butterfly uses this to feed on nectar from flowers. Butterflies can only fly if they are warm. When they are too cold, they bask in the sun until their temperatures rise. Some species of butterfly, like the monarch, live for a few months, but most live for just 1 or 2 weeks. During their short lives, butterflies mate. When the female butterfly lays eggs, the life cycle starts all over again. Did you know butterflies are in danger? Pesticides cause them harm, and there are fewer wildlife areas for them to visit. Soon, many species may become extinct. You can help by planting flowers such as buddleia, verbena, and lavender in a sunny, sheltered spot. Then, wait for butterflies to appear. A butterfly's life cycle has 4 different stages. These are egg, caterpillar, chrysalis, and adult butterfly. During its life, the butterfly transforms completely. This amazing process is called metamorphosis.
That is one of my favorite stories.
I love that story. I love that book. It's so good.
And one of the main things we learned in that story is the life cycle of the butterfly. Mm-hmm. Can you guys remember how many stages there are to the life cycle of the butterfly? Mm-hmm. Just hold up your fingers. Let us see them. How many stages? Geniuses, Miss Alicia.
4.
Geniuses.
Yes.
There are 4 stages in the life cycle of the butterfly. Can you guys tell us what the first one is? The eggs. These guys.
The eggs.
They're such good listeners. Now, the cool thing about the eggs of butterflies is they all look different depending on the type of butterfly. So you can see some of them are different colors. We have some that are like iridescent, almost see-through, clear, which is cool. We have some that look like they have little eyes on them. Why would they lay eggs that look like they have little eyes on them, Miss Alicia?
So the eggs are laid so that they can scare away things that might come eat them or to blend in with their environment. So they might look like something else that's in that area, and things that might come, like a bird that might want to eat those eggs, they might go, oh, that looks scary. I'm going to leave it alone.
That's an eyeball looking at me.
I'm
not going to eat that, right? But very, very cool.
They look kind of like alien eggs. Look how many there are.
They're very cool. I really like these ones with all the pokies on them. Those look super cool. So the first stage of the life cycle of the butterfly is the egg. Now, do you remember what the second stage was?
What comes out of the egg?
The very hungry caterpillars.
Ooh.
How many of you guys have seen caterpillars before? Do they all look like this, or do they all look a little bit different? Miss Alicia, you are an expert on insects and bugs, so I have a question for you about caterpillars. If we see caterpillars, should we touch all the caterpillars?
No. Some of the caterpillars have hairs or things that might irritate or hurt our hands. If they're fuzzy, they're usually fuzzy because it's going to hurt you. If they're bright colored, that means they could be toxic. That's to keep predators away so they won't eat them. But that also means if you see bright colored insects, you should just leave them alone and not touch them. Also, you might pick them up and hurt them or take them away from where they need to be. So we should just leave them alone. It's fun to watch them or take pictures of them, but we don't need to pick them up.
Let them be. Okay, so we have the egg and the caterpillar.
Okay.
And what comes next? You guessed it.
Oh,
The chrysalis.
that's a tricky word.
Can you guys say chrysalis? Chrysalis. What do we know about the chrysalis?
So that is where the caterpillar goes and finds a safe spot. See how this one's just on a twig? And they curl up in there, and then they change. They completely change while they're inside this chrysalis into a whole nother thing, into the butterfly, right?
And like our eggs and our caterpillars look different, do the chrysalises look different too?
Yes. And this is a really important stage where they need to kind of blend in sometimes with their environment or make things stay away from them because they're kind of vulnerable or like they could get hurt easily. So if you ever see a chrysalis, you shouldn't touch it because if you knock it down, you could hurt the caterpillar that's turning into a butterfly inside. But you can see lots of different ones. A lot of them look like a leaf or a twig or to blend in with their environment. And some of them just look kind of scary, right?
Super cool. Okay. So we have the egg, the caterpillar, the chrysalis, and the fourth stage is the beautiful butterfly, right? So here we have an orange butterfly. Does anybody know what type of butterfly that is? Oh my gosh, I think I heard him say it.
Yeah. It's a monarch.
A monarch butterfly.
Yeah.
Now, we know there's all sorts of different types of butterflies, and this is just a few of them. There are so many more. My favorite happened to be the blue ones.
Yeah, look at all the different colors.
And patterns. I think that's the cool part too, right?
Yeah, some of them that have the big circles, those are meant to look like big eyes, like owl eyes, or to scare away birds and things that might eat them.
I wonder, they say no two cows have the same spots. Can two butterflies have exactly the same spot or pattern, or are they
Usually
all
not.
just a little bit different?
They're a little bit different.
That is
Sometimes
super cool.
there's butterflies that have one wing that looks completely different than the other side.
That means they're not symmetrical in their
Right.
design.
Yep. So
Okay.
yeah.
So if you fold them in half, they're not exactly the same. That's pretty cool. Okay, so our 4 stages again are, what was it? The egg, the caterpillar,
This one's the tricky one. Chrysalis.
and the butterfly. Very good. Now that you guys are experts on the life cycle of the butterfly, we're going to give you an opportunity to do a super fun craft. So by now, your teacher should have passed out to you this worksheet. If not, they're passing it out to you right now. And as you can see on this worksheet, we have listed the different stages of the life cycle of the butterfly. And this is where you guys come in.
You guys are going to get to design each of the different stages of the life cycle of your own butterfly. You get to decide what it looks like, the colors, and all how it looks. So that's really cool. It's going to be your own special butterfly.
Now, I know they get to come up with their own egg, caterpillar, chrysalis, and butterfly design. But do you have a design that you could share with them today?
I do. I have mine, the one that I designed. Okay, so this is Miss Alicia's butterfly.
Wow.
So I like the colors red and black and yellow, so I made my butterfly red and black and yellow. And then the life cycle stages look very similar, right? So the egg is red and black and yellow, and it is spiky. I have put little spikes on there to protect it from predators or things that might want to eat it. And it's on a little leaf. And then look at my caterpillar. When it came out of the egg, it's got little spikes and big long antenna to kind of scare away anything that might eat it. And the chrysalis also has those colors, and it's attached to a stem. And then when we put our foldable together, it makes our butterfly. Isn't
So
that
what
cool?
we want you guys to do is get your favorite colors of markers, crayons, or colored pencils, and we want you to design your very own egg, caterpillar, chrysalis, and butterfly. Go ahead. Okay, now that you guys have finished drawing your egg, caterpillar, chrysalis, and butterfly, we want to show you guys how to fold this to be super cool. So you guys have your worksheets in front of you, and we want you to follow what Miss Alicia says.
Okay, so I'm going to turn it lengthwise right here, okay? And do you see how on the corners, and then there's a line right here? We're going to fold it backwards on that line. Okay, so we're going to try our best to fold it all the way on that line. If you need to put it on the table, you can go ahead and do that. So it should look like this. Okay, and then where in between the egg and the caterpillar, this we're going to fold forward. So we're going to fold it like that.
Oh, my butterfly's getting smaller inside.
Yeah, it's like a half of one, okay? Then you're going to flip it over, and you're going to do the same thing. So remember, we're going to fold backwards.
So the wing is
goes
come
back
to you.
So you should see the wing when you fold it. Again, if you have to put it on the table, that's okay. And then, so it should look like that. Then you're going to fold it forward. And you're going to use the boxes as your guide. Oh, look at that. It's a butterfly.
And that way, when you open your book, you're going to find all of the amazing things.
And this is the monarch butterfly we showed you. And this one's a special butterfly in Arizona. Do you guys know why this butterfly is so special? What? Why?
Is it our state butterfly?
It's our state butterfly. Did you guys know we had a state butterfly?
Just like we have a state tree and a state bird.
Yeah.
What's it called?
This is called the two-tail swallowtail. So you can see these little parts right here. Those are the swallowtails, and it has two long ones, right? So that's the two-tailed swallowtail. And this is what it looks like. Okay, so its eggs are really small and yellow, little yellow egg. That's a really cool caterpillar, right? It's bright green. And then the chrysalis blends in really well, especially the Arizona and the desert, right? It's kind of dark colored.
It almost just looks like a broken stump on the tree.
Yep, that's to protect it so nothing will bother it. So if you see any of those, just take a picture or look with your eyes, but don't touch.
And what was that butterfly called again?
The two-tailed swallowtail. Have you guys seen this? I'm sure you guys have seen this butterfly before. We have a lot of them.
That's pretty cool. Well, we sure hope you guys had fun today learning about agriculture and some of our very important friends in agriculture, the butterfly. We can't wait to see the butterflies that you created. So have your teacher snap a picture and email it to us at aitc@azfb.org. We'll see you guys later.
Bye.